They will come to you like a warm fire in winter. At first, you will think they are saving you from the cold, but when you lean closer, you will feel it. The burn is not warmth, it is consumption. A narcissist doesn't just take your time, they take the mirror you use to see yourself and replace it with theirs. You've felt it before, haven't you? That subtle shrinking of your own voice. The way your laughter feels like it needs permission. The way you start questioning what you once knew in your bones, and you tell yourself, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe they're right, but listen, that is how the fog works. It doesn't come rushing in with alarms and flashing lights. It rolls in slow, muffling your instincts, wrapping itself around your certainty until you can't tell where you end and they begin. Picture this, you're standing at a crossroads. One path is paved with every excuse you've made for them. The other path is empty, unknown, but yours. You feel the weight of years, of conversations replayed in your head at 2 a.m., of apologies you were forced to make just to keep the peace. And still they tell you, you're overreacting, you're imagining, you're the problem. No, you are not the problem. You are the answer they fear. Because the moment you see through their mask, the game ends, and they know it. If you want to deal with a narcissist, then leave these. Leave the need to explain yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Leave the belief that they will ever apologize the way you deserve. Leave the hope that if you love them harder, they will finally see your worth. Leave the stage they built for their performance and take your light with you. You've wasted enough mornings waking up heavy. You've wasted enough nights rewriting their cruelty into, maybe they didn't mean it. You've played small so they could feel big. Enough. You can walk away. You can close the door without leaving it cracked open for their return. You can breathe air that isn't laced with manipulation. You can stand in front of a mirror and see yourself again. Clear, whole, unbroken. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, the silence after the storm will feel strange, but your spirit will rise in that quiet. Your soul will remember what it is to not be caged, and the freedom will taste like truth. You are capable. You are worthy. You are allowed to leave. You are allowed to choose peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, dignity over crumbs. So take the step. Leave the lies, the gaslighting, the erosion of your spirit. Walk toward the life that was waiting for you all along. Don't look back. Don't negotiate with what tried to destroy you. Your healing does not require their permission. The moment you decide, truly decide, you reclaim every piece of yourself they tried to steal. And that is the day you win. Now go. Your freedom is already waiting. And maybe right now, your mind is still trying to bargain. Still trying to find a version of the story where they change, where it works out, where the pain you've endured will finally make sense. But hear me. There is no happy ending when the villain refuses to put down their sword. A narcissist doesn't just hurt you. They rewrite reality while you're still bleeding. They turn your kindness into weakness, your loyalty into a leash. They will convince you that the fire they set was a storm you caused. And the longer you stay, the smaller your world becomes. Think of the dreams you've set aside, the friendships you've let fade, the parts of yourself you've hidden away because they were too much or not enough. That is the tax you've been paying for their approval, and it will never be enough because their hunger has no end. You've been taught to doubt the sharp edge of your intuition, but it is still there, deep inside, waiting. It has been whispering to you in the quiet moments, telling you this isn't love, telling you this isn't home. telling you there's more than this cage. You are not too broken to start over. You are not too far gone to rebuild. You are not selfish for choosing your own life. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a cliff. The wind on your face, the world stretching out before you. You can hear your heartbeat. Steady, certain. There is no voice here to tell you what you can't do. No hands here trying to mold you into something smaller. Only the open sky and the truth that you are free to leap. They will call you cruel for walking away. They will call you ungrateful, dramatic, even insane. Let them. Their words are the chains they throw at the backs of those who escape. But you will be gone, and those chains will fall useless on the ground. You must. You can reclaim the mornings. You will rediscover the sound of your own laughter. You must protect your peace, as if it is the most sacred treasure you own. Because it is. Every step away from them is a step back to yourself. Every no you speak is a yes to your own soul. Every moment you refuse to play their game is a victory. And one day, sooner than you think, you will look back and realize they didn't just lose you. They lost the power they never deserved to hold. Walk now. Not when it's easier, not when they finally push you past the breaking point. Walk now, because your life is worth more than waiting for them to change. Choose yourself. Choose your freedom. Choose the you that remembers who you were before they told you who to be, because when you do, the world will open, and so will you. There is a truth that will set you free, but it will not whispers. It will roar. It will tell you that the only way to win with a narcissist is not to play, not to stand there, holding the pieces of a board they flipped over long ago, hoping they'll sit down and play fair. They won't. They are architects of confusion, painters of false hope. They hand you blueprints to a home that will never be built. And still you keep pouring your bricks, thinking that if you work hard enough, love deep enough, sacrifice more, one day they'll join you. They won't, and you've felt that weariness in your bones, haven't you? The exhaustion that doesn't come from lack of sleep, but from constant alertness, from tiptoeing through every conversation like it's a minefield. It's the weight of walking on glass just to keep their storms at bay. But I'm here to tell you something dangerous, something holy. You are allowed to drop the glass. You are allowed to stop bleeding for someone who keeps handing you the shards. Yes, they will try to draw you back in. They will promise change, remind you of the sweet beginnings, pull out the version of themselves they know you fell for. But that's just bait. It's not love. It's control dressed up in affection. And here is the part they don't want you to know. Once you step away, the spell breaks. Once you cut the cord, their words lose their weight. Once you stand in your own light, the shadows they cast cannot reach you. You are more than their reflection. You are more than the story they told about you. You are not the villain in their script, and you are not obligated to stay in a role that kills your spirit. Imagine waking up and feeling no need to check their mood before you move. Imagine laughing without calculating if it will offend. Imagine living without editing yourself down to fit their comfort. That life exists. It is waiting just past the door you've been too afraid to open. And I need you to hear this like it's the only truth left. You can walk through it. You can rebuild. You can love yourself more than you fear their absence. It won't be easy. It won't be neat. But it will be worth everything. So leave the stage. Leave the lies. Leave the twisted games and the quiet assassinations of your worth. Walk into the unknown like it's sacred ground, because it is. This is not just escape. It is rebirth, and your soul has been waiting for you to choose it. Now, choose. There's a moment, right before you finally walk, where everything inside you goes quiet. Not the uneasy silence of fear, but the heavy stillness of truth settling in. It feels like standing in the eye of a storm, and knowing you will not step back into the wind. That moment is sacred. It's the instant you stop begging for scraps and start demanding a feast from life itself. It's when the scales fall from your eyes, when you see that the love you thought you were protecting was actually a leash around your neck. Look closely. Narcissists don't just take your energy, they feed on your doubt. They thrive on keeping you too tired to think, too tangled to leave, too unsure to fight. They drip poison disguised as concern, turning your own reflection into an enemy. You know this dance already. The sudden affection when they sense you pulling away, the small compliments dropped like breadcrumbs, leading you right back into the trap. The cycle always ends the same. Your hope is the currency, their ego is the bank, and you are always left bankrupt. But you are not a bank. You are not a fuel tank for someone else's emptiness. You are a living, breathing force, and when you remember that, their power crumbles. I want you to picture this. You, walking out the door, no grand goodbye, no dramatic scene. Just you, calm and steady, closing it behind you like you're sealing a tomb, because that's what it is. A burial of the lies, the manipulation, the person you had to become to survive them, and what waits on the other side. Air that doesn't choke you. Rooms that don't echo with accusation. Days that belong entirely to you. You can stand there in the sunlight and realize you don't need their apology to heal. You don't need their approval to thrive. You don't need their version of the story to prove your truth. You can. You will. You must. The time has come to leave not just them, but the parts of you that believed you were unworthy without them. The time has come to trade survival for freedom, pain for peace, fear for power, because the real victory isn't proving them wrong. It's never needing to prove yourself to them again. Now go. Don't wait for the perfect moment. This is the moment. The chains are already unlocked. You only need to walk away, and when you walk, walk like the ground beneath you knows your name. Walk like the air is holding you up. Walk as if every step is a declaration. I am not yours to break. Because here's the secret no one tells you. Narcissists don't just fear losing control over you. They fear you remembering who you were before them. That version of you they worked so hard to erase. Bold, untamed, unshakable. That version is still here, waiting at the edge of the fog, hand outstretched, whispering, "Come home." You've been told that leaving means you're cold, selfish, ungrateful. But leaving is not cruelty. It is clarity. It's not abandonment. It's alignment. It's the act of stepping out of a burning house before the roof collapses. Think of all the times you watered dead soil, all the times you tried to breathe life into something that was built to drain you dry. You can forgive yourself for that. You can forgive yourself for staying longer than you should have. You can forgive yourself for believing their words over your own knowing. Because now you see. And once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you know, you cannot unknow. And once you decide, you cannot be stopped. Picture yourself months from now. Laughing louder, sleeping deeper, making choices without fear of backlash. You look in the mirror and see not someone recovering, but someone rising. Someone who learned that love doesn't demand self-erasure. Someone who found out that peace is possible and joy is not too much to ask for. You will carry scars, yes, but they will not be wounds. They will be proof. Proof that you made it out. Proof that you did not break. Proof that you chose yourself in the end. This is your crossing point. The threshold between who you've been and who you are about to become. So leave the stage where they cast you as the fool. Leave the battlefield where every win is turned against you. Leave the prison that made you believe the key was never in your hands. It is. It always was. Now take it. Turn it. Step out into the light. And when they call for you, when they try to pull you back into the script, you'll smile, not in cruelty, but in knowing, because you're already gone, and you're not coming back. And out here, beyond their reach, the world feels different. The air is cleaner, sharper. You start to notice the sound of your own thoughts again. Not their voice in disguise, but yours. It's quieter, but it's true. At first, you might still turn your head, expecting the sting of their words, the shift in their mood, the weight of walking on eggshells. But there's nothing. Only space. Only freedom, and then it hits you. This is what life was meant to feel like. This is what peace tastes like when it's not laced with fear. They will still try to reach you. Through messages, mutual friends, sudden coincidences. They'll dress it up as concern, closure, curiosity. But you'll see it for what it is. A hook, a chain, a hand reaching for the collar they once placed around your neck. Don't take it. Not even for a second. Because the moment you do, the game starts again, and you've already won by leaving. Remember this, you are not missing out on anything. You are not losing the good parts. Those were illusions crafted to keep you tethered. The real loss would be going back. The real tragedy would be dimming your light again, just to make them comfortable in the dark. You've come too far. You've tasted your own power. You've felt the first rush of oxygen after years of shallow breaths. Keep going. Step by step, day by day, choice by choice. You are building a life where you don't have to explain your worth, where love doesn't feel like a transaction, where your joy isn't rationed by someone else's approval. You are free, and freedom is not something you wait for, it's something you claim. So claim it fully, without apology. And if you ever doubt, if you ever feel that old pull to return, just remember the simple truth. You left not because you stopped caring for them. You left because you started caring for yourself. One day, you will wake up and realize you no longer measure the day by their moods. The weather in your soul will no longer change because of the storms they choose to carry. That is when you'll know you have crossed over, not just left them, but left the version of you who stayed. Understand this, a narcissist survives on borrowed power. They siphon it through your guilt, your need to fix, your habit of forgiving before the wound even scabs. They will never stop taking, but you can stop giving. Think back to all the nights you lay awake wondering if you were too much or not enough. Those questions were never yours to answer. They planted them, watered them, and watched them grow like vines around your throat. But tonight, you sleep without those vines. You breathe without their shadow in your lungs. You look in the mirror and see eyes that are clear, shoulders that stand a little taller. Yes, healing will come in waves. Some days, the tide will pull you back toward old memories, old habits, old pain. But you will remember, those waters are not home anymore. You will swim forward. You will not drown where you have already survived. Picture yourself walking into a room full of people and not scanning for danger. Picture making choices without rehearsing how you'll justify them later. Picture joy arriving in your life without permission slips or apologies. This is not fantasy. This is your birthright. Peace is not a privilege handed out by the ones who harmed you. It is yours to claim, yours to protect, yours to live in. So when they try again, and they will, to rewrite the story, to paint themselves as the victim, to tell the world you were the cruel one, let them talk. You will be too busy living to hear them. You can, you will, you must protect what you've built. Honor the ground you've gained. Guard your freedom like it's sacred, because it is. And if you ever wonder what to do next, remember this: keep walking toward the life that feels like sunlight on your skin. Never turn back toward the shadows that once convinced you they were home. And here's the truth you might not want to hear yet. The pain you feel right now is not the sign you made a mistake. It's the sign you finally stopped betraying yourself. It's the ache of muscles learning to stand after years of kneeling. It's the sting of lungs breathing in air they've been denied for too long. Because when you've been trapped in someone else's maze, freedom can feel unfamiliar, almost wrong. The silence feels too big. The space around you feels too open. But that's only because you've forgotten what it's like to live without chains. A narcissist will want you to believe you can't survive without them. They'll want you to think you're fragile, that you're safer in their cage. But the truth, you are surviving in spite of them, not because of them. And now, without the constant drain, you are not just surviving. You're beginning to live. Think of all the energy you've spent tiptoeing, arguing with lies, patching up wounds you never caused. Now, that energy is yours again. What will you do with it? Where will you go with it? Who will you become with it? Picture yourself months from now, sitting in a coffee shop, your shoulders relaxed, your laughter unguarded. Someone asks about that chapter of your life, and you realize it no longer hurts to talk about it. It feels distant, like an old dream you've outgrown. That is coming. That is the reward for every shaky step you're taking now. You are not weak for walking away. You are not cold for refusing to return. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are wise enough to see the game, strong enough to quit playing, and brave enough to face the unknown rather than the familiar prison. So keep moving. Even when your legs tremble. Even when the past calls your name. Even when part of you wonders if it would be easier to go back. Because the truth is simple. Going back would not be easier. It would only be slower death. You can, you will, you must. And one day, you'll stand in the sunlight and know. You didn't just leave them. You chose you. And that choice changed everything. There will come a morning when you no longer check your phone before your feet hit the floor. No scanning for their approval or their rage. No bracing for a war you never started. Just breath. Just the soft, quiet knowledge that the day belongs to you. And in that moment, you will realize you are no longer living in reaction to them. You are living in creation for you. That is the moment the old chains finally dissolve. Not with a loud snap, but with a soft untying, as if your soul whispers, "We're free now, we can go." You see, narcissists survive by keeping you trapped in loops. Loops of defending yourself, loops of doubting yourself, loops of proving your worth to someone who never intended to see it. They thrive when you spend all your energy trying to solve them instead of saving yourself. But you've broken the loop. And now it's their turn to feel the emptiness they tried to bury you in. I won't lie to you. Freedom has a cost. You will grieve the version of them you thought was real. You will grieve the years you lost, the love you gave, the parts of yourself you muted just to be enough for them. But on the other side of that grief, there's a different kind of love waiting. A love for yourself so deep, you'll wonder how you ever accepted crumbs. Picture walking into a room and feeling no weight on your shoulders. Picture laughing without looking over your shoulder to see if it's okay. Picture deciding, truly deciding, that the only approval you'll ever need is your own. That's where you're heading. That's what this pain is building. So, when the memories come like waves, let them wash over you, but don't swim back into them. When their voice echoes in your mind, let it fade into the distance. When the temptation to answer their call rises, remember the price you've already paid. You can, you will, you must. Leave the illusions. Leave the false promises. Leave the hollow praise that always came with a hook. You are not their supply anymore. You are your own source. And when you step fully into that truth, you won't just leave them behind. You'll leave behind the person who thought they had to stay. There's a shift that happens when you finally understand you were never hard to love. You were just loving someone who needed you to feel that way to keep you close. And that realization, it doesn't just free you from them. It frees you from every lie they planted in your soil. The ones that said you're too sensitive. The ones that said you're lucky they even chose you. The ones that turned your strength into something you should be ashamed of. Let me tell you, those lies don't belong to you anymore. They fall away like dead leaves in autumn, and what's left is your truth, raw and undeniable. You were always enough. You were always worthy. You just needed to see it without their shadow blocking the light. I want you to imagine something. You're walking down a street you've never been on before. The sun is warm, the air is clean, and every step feels like a choice instead of a chore. You glance at shop windows, hear laughter from a cafe, and for the first time in years, you're curious about the world instead of afraid of it. That's what happens when you take your life back. The world gets bigger again. But here's the thing. They will try to shrink it. They will try to pull you back into the small, dark corner where they were the only light you thought you had. They'll reach out with the same old hooks. I miss you. No one will love you like I did. You'll regret this, but you won't. Because by then, you'll know their love wasn't love. It was ownership. And you are not property. You can. You will. You must. You'll find your voice again. You'll wear your own reflection like a crown instead of a burden. You'll realize that being alone is not the same as being lonely. Because loneliness is what you felt sitting right next to them. So keep walking. Keep choosing the unknown over the unlivable. Keep standing taller than their memory. And when the day comes that you look back, you won't see the ruins of what you lost. You'll see the foundation of what you built. And you'll know, leaving wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of you. There will be a day when their name feels like nothing more than an old address. A place you used to live, a place you'll never return to. The rooms in your mind that once echoed with their voice will be filled with something new. Your music, your laughter, your peace. And when you think of them, if you think of them at all, it won't be with longing or anger. It will be with the same detachment you'd feel for a shadow you once mistook for the sun. You'll realize something profound. They didn't change you into someone smaller. They revealed the size of your strength, because even at your lowest, you carried enough light to make them want to steal it. That's what they feared all along. Not losing your love, but losing access to your energy, your devotion, your belief in them. And once you see that, you will never see them as powerful again. Picture standing at a cliff's edge, not looking down, but looking out. The horizon is wide open. The wind smells of beginnings. You understand in your bones that the story from here is entirely yours to write. There will still be moments where you miss the person you thought they were, but you'll remember that person never truly existed outside of your hope, and missing the illusion is not a reason to return to the cage. You can. You will. You must. Your life is not a monument to what they did to you. It is proof of what you chose after. Every boundary you set is a brick in your freedom. Every no you speak is a seed of your peace. Every day you wake up without them is a reminder that you survived, you healed, you rose. So keep rising. Don't just step away. Step into something greater. A life that doesn't just happen to you, but is shaped by your hands, fed by your courage, lit by your truth. And when they call your name from the shadows, you'll smile to yourself and keep walking. Because you know where you're going, and it's somewhere they will never follow. And somewhere along the way, you stop feeling like you're running from them and start realizing you're running toward yourself. The panic that once gripped your chest loosens. The voice that once told you, you can't, gets quieter, and the space inside you, that sacred inner space they once invaded, is yours again. You notice the small things first. How your body doesn't flinch when the phone rings. How you can speak without rehearsing your words. How laughter feels natural instead of dangerous. And then you notice the bigger things. How you no longer need someone else's validation to feel real. How you no longer accept apologies that are just setups for the next wound. They will still try to write themselves into your story. They'll send their subtle messages. There, I was thinking of yous. There, I've changed. But you'll see them for what they are. Not bridges, but saps as invitations. Because now you understand their power was never in who they were, but in who you believed them to be. And you no longer believe. Picture standing at the threshold of your own life. Sunlight spilling across your feet, the air humming with possibilities. There is no cage here, no locked door, no one telling you which parts of yourself you're allowed to keep. You can, you will, you must. Leave the mirage of their love behind. Leave the hope that they'll finally wake up and see you. Leave the idea that you were ever too much or not enough. You are exactly what you were meant to be. And you are becoming more of it every single day. And when you look back, you won't see them at all. You'll only see yourself, standing taller, shining brighter, untouched by the shadows that once claimed you. That's when you'll know you didn't just survive. You reclaimed your life, and nothing, no one, will ever take it from you again. There comes a point where even the memory of them loses its sharpness. The edges that once cut you open feel dulled. Their face becomes less a presence and more a faded outline. It's not that you've forgotten. It's that you've healed. You start to realize the real battle was never with them at all. The fight was always between the version of you who believed their lies and the version of you who finally decided to stop living inside them. And now that fight is over. You no longer flinch at the thought of their opinion. You no longer measure your worth by their approval. You no longer bend yourself into shapes that fit inside their fragile ego. And here's the part that will feel like magic. You stop wanting them to understand. You stop craving the closure they could never give. You stop waiting for them to admit what they did. Because you realize, with bone, deep certainty, that their acknowledgement is not the gate to your freedom. You are. Imagine this. You're sitting alone in your space. The light coming through the window is soft. Your coffee is warm in your hands. There's no noise, no tension, no storm. For the first time, you notice that the silence feels full instead of empty. That's when you know you've built a home inside yourself again. Yes, they may try to circle back. They may send messages that sound like apologies, but are really fishing lines for your attention. They may try to provoke you with lies, just to feel the spark of control they've lost. Let them spin. Your life no longer turns on their axis. You can, you will, you must. Protect the life you've built. Guard it like the treasure it is. This peace you feel now, it's not fragile. It's forged. Forged from every moment you chose to walk instead of stay. Forged from the nights you cried and still kept moving forward. Forged from the refusal to let them define the rest of your story. So walk boldly now, and when you look back, don't look with longing. Look with gratitude, for the strength it took to leave, for the clarity it gave you, for the person you've become because of it. And if their shadow ever crosses your path again, smile softly to yourself and keep walking toward the horizon. Because your future has no room for their darkness, there's a liberation that doesn't come with fireworks or applause. It comes quietly, like dawn spilling over a dark horizon. You wake one morning, and there's no heaviness pressing on your chest, no mental rehearsal for the day's battles, no wondering who you have to be just to keep the peace. You simply are. And that's the part they never wanted you to reach. Because when you arrive here, to this place of self-trust, self-love, self-respect, their grip dissolves, not because they let go, but because there's nothing left for them to hold on to. A narcissist's power is like a parasite. It needs a host. It feeds on your attention, your defense, your belief in their story. But once you cut the supply, once you stop explaining, justifying, proving, pleading, their empire collapses into dust. Think back to the countless times you rewrote your own reality just to make theirs feel true. Think of the truths you buried in order to keep the peace. And now, look at the ground you stand on. Solid, unshakable, built from the very truths they feared you would speak aloud. Picture this. You years from now, sitting across from someone who truly sees you. Your laugh is unguarded. Your eyes are bright. There's no weight pulling your words back down your throat. You talk about your past without flinching, not because it didn't hurt, but because you know it no longer owns you. That's where this road leads. Not just away from them, but toward the fullest, freest version of you. You can, you will, you must leave their chaos. Leave their rewrites of your truth. Leave the role they cast you in. Walk into the unwritten chapters, the ones where you are both author and hero,